This was me on an anti-Candida diet. I fell for the biased opinions that state you have to starve Candida in order to remove it. Experimenting with these theories ended up starving my body and flourishing the growth of Candida even more. This video isn't about what Candida is, but rather why it occurs in excess and how I believe it should be treated. This video will be quite brief. I will go into more detail in my book and in future videos. For now, let's start here. I've been putting off making this video for a long time, about 2 years. Someone asked me if I would talk about it, so I will in hopes that no one else will dangerously experiment with Candida diets like I did. I've been avoiding to make this video for the sheer fact that I know my comment section will be flooded with emotionally fueled biased opinions. Opinions from people that get easily offended by someone that doesn't agree with them. Mainly because they are so deeply invested in their ideologies, regardless of how destructive they are. This is such a touchy subject because people have become emotionally invested in the idea of Candida rather than the actual cause of it. Candida is just a side effect of another ailment. There are some people out there that will appreciate my perspective. This video is for you. The ones who have already tried fasting, fad diets, Candida cleanse supplements, and other protocols, but still continue to have a white-coated tongue and other undesirable symptoms. It's also for those that are not sure which Candida protocol to choose from, and whom do not want to be fooled by the severely restricting diets and protocols that are out there. I experimented with them so you don't have to. Candida causes cancer? Candida has become a trigger word. People freak out when they hear about it. When you first start out learning about health, Candida seems like the cause of everything and is the end of the world. There are endless amounts of forums and articles talking about it, almost intentionally inducing fear. Unfortunately, some of the most popular Candida forms are the most damaging to our wellness. Some of these forums claim that you will develop cancer if you have Candida, or your life is doomed in general if you have it. I think that is a very inappropriate way of looking at things without developing an in-depth understanding as to why that could be and if it's even true. Okay, so arguably in some cases Candida can indeed make people feel equivalent to having cancer, but we can't blame it entirely on causing that rundown feeling. By the way, I don't think Candida causes cancer. The possible cause of cancer is just so coincidentally nearly one of the same as the cause for Candida, but a bit more extreme. I suspect the more plausible cause of most cancers is an accumulation of waste, mainly from man-made chemicals, weak endocrine glands, and a weak immune system. But don't hold me on just that statement alone. There are tons of factors as to why we develop cancer. I will not be talking about it in this video, but the premise behind my perspective of Candida is nearly identical. So, what do I believe causes Candida, and why is it so hard to get rid of in some cases? Emotional, internal and external stress, excessive antibiotic use, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, processed foods, pesticides, GMOs, environmental pollutants, gut dysbiosis, SIBO, being born in a hospital, and C-sections, which reduces beneficial bacteria exposure, not being exposed to nature's soil at a young age, weak immune system, weak HPAT access. HPAT means hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, and thyroid, infectious diseases such as Lyme disease and co-infections, parasites, biofilms, and most importantly, weak eliminative organs causing an accumulation of waste mainly in the bowels and the lymphatic system. I believe the key here is to not directly focus on Candida, but instead focus on the body as a whole system that needs support. There are so many Candida treatments out there. Everyone has their own way of dealing with it. Here is the Candida protocol that I think makes the most sense thus far. Prepare for the haters. Remember, Candida is mainly caused by our bodies accumulating waste in the lymphatic system and bowels. The immune system is down, the kidneys are not filtering, and the endocrine glands are down. Candida feeds off of waste and our foods, especially processed carbohydrate-rich, chemical-laden foods. It's almost like it's there as a last resort defense mechanism against foreign bodies, but unfortunately it makes us feel absolutely terrible. Some people can function just fine with it, whereas others can become severely fatigued, sensitive to foods, and develop a whole host of autoimmune-like symptoms. I want to make this clear, you are not going to kill off Candida completely. It will just grow back by the next morning, or when you slip up on your diet. This is why diet becomes nearly useless once you've reached a certain point of eliminating junk food and sticking to mainly organic. Organic is not enough, and neither is avoidance of all fruits and other feeding foods. You'll starve like I did because a lot of Candida diets are too restrictive. A lot of those diets tell you to eat a lot of meat. That can be a problem, especially when you're allergic to red meats like I am because of a tick bite. Putrefying meat and foods in general in the GI tract will make Candida much worse. Probiotics? Candida lives in our guts naturally, but accumulates when our bodies are out of balance. Yeah, that can include not having enough good bacteria in the gut, but honestly, I think oftentimes the gut bacteria aspect can sort itself out on its own. This will happen by focusing on healing the entire body and by continuing to eat some raw foods which have soil-based probiotics on them. The whole probiotic topic is a bit tough to talk about. It's obviously crucial since Candida is an imbalance of gut bacteria, dysbiosis. Some people swear by probiotics where others avoid them entirely because of the histamine-causing forms of bacteria found in common probiotic supplements and foods. Histamine-causing probiotics such as Lactobacillus casei, Lactobacillus reuteri, and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. These probiotics are especially found in commercial yogurts and fermented foods. These foods are actually making you fat or skinny, brain fogged, and immunologically impaired. Okay, what should we do to combat Candida? Well, firstly, it's quite an expensive and long-term endeavor, but health is definitely worth the cost. We need to get our endocrine glands up, especially the adrenals and thyroid, strengthen the immune system, take some antifungals, clear out chronic infectious diseases, and get our eliminative organs functioning better. This means taking supplements and herbal formulas such as antifungal and antiparasitic, bowels, kidneys, liver, adrenals and thyroid support, lymphatic system, immune system, and maybe biofilm disruptors. I would suggest finding formulas with these core herbs in them as some of the more important herbs to fight Candida naturally. Astragalus, ashwagandha, eleuthero, cat's claw, padiarco, shatavari, reishi mushroom, chaga mushroom, and other medicinal mushrooms. These herbs are mainly for the immune system and HPAT axis, which should help the most. You can't go too wrong with taking most of these herbs, but there are two herbs that could cause trouble in some people. Astragalus totally sucks if you have chronic Lyme disease, and some people such as myself are either allergic to ashwagandha or simply cannot handle the immune system effects it offers. I do sell some of these herbs, but not all of them yet. I'm still slowly working on developing my own formulas. Until then, try formulas from other herbalists, make your own, or buy some of the individual herbs at my store, which, by the way, supports me to make my free videos. Diet and food restriction? Obviously, eat healthier foods without severely restricting your diet and losing calories or vital nutrients. Avoid the urge to eat massive amounts of aflatoxin-rich nut butters. You likely need more nutrients and calories from other foods if you're craving a lot of nut butters. Vegetables and bone broths can be very useful nutritionally. Additionally, a clean multivitamin may be needed to avoid things like leaky gut and an increased risk of developing other ailments because of a nutrient-deficient body. Make sure you're getting enough calcium, magnesium, zinc, selenium, iodine, phosphorus, iron, B-complex, vitamin K, C, and D. Basically, Candida will very likely cause general deficiencies. I used to profusely bleed out of my nose because of deficiencies. My poor nose. It was so bad. I don't think avoiding fruits is a great idea, considering how they support detoxification and are absorbed quickly in the small intestine. I'm not a fruitarian, but fruitarians most certainly understand the absorption premise quite well. The only downside is, based on studies, fructose is metabolized in the liver and may be hard on an already stressed liver. If you're still worried about fruits, then consume berries, which are lower in sugar. I also think most relatively healthy people can get better while eating starchy foods, so long as your body digests and utilizes them well. If you have to avoid tons of foods to feel better, whereas others don't, then you should suspect your body is the problem, not the foods. Unless you're eating GMOs and processed foods, that crap will make anyone sick. Starches are prebiotics that can feed beneficial bacteria in the lower GI tract. Plus, we do need some carbohydrates in our diet. That photo of me when I was a skeleton was when I tried a low-carb Candida diet. Some people like me don't do well with minimal carbs. I think most people don't do well on a low-carb diet, but they are so used to feeling bad that they don't notice the negative effects of carbohydrate restriction until they add carbs back into their diet. Even the low-carb gurus still tell you to have some carbs. Take that into consideration. This does not mean eat massive amounts of rice every day and carb up, or arsenic up. Rice is high in arsenic, so that's a terrible idea. Plus, I strongly believe in moderation of everything. My diet is near 60-20-20, with adjustments as needed. That's 60% carbs for relatively high physical activity, 20% protein, and 20% fat. Start there and adjust according to your needs. Also be sure to try new foods and the process of elimination to see which foods you do best on. Medication? As urban survivors, I always suggest starting with natural approaches first. If you're still struggling, you could try pharmaceuticals as a last resort. Some people do really well on diflucan and nystatin, but they are definitely not the type of medicine you want to take long term. If they don't cure your candida in a few weeks, then they probably never will. They may make you feel better temporarily and give your body more support to help fight it off with herbs alongside them. If that's what you want to do, then you'll have to talk to your doctor about it. Oh, by the way, the other day I found a study that found EGCG from green tea enhances the antifungal effects of fluconazole against candida. I'll eventually go deeper into this, but for now, this is a good place to start with the basics. Okay, one last thing, then I'm going to end this video. Candida appears to be linked to oxalate accumulation in the body, so I do suggest consuming low oxalate vegetables, even if you don't have candida. Oxalate-rich vegetables are not health foods, and the industry has got you fooled thinking they are. Spinach this, spinach that, t-shirts that say, eat more kale, and so forth. I think I want to make a shirt that says something like, oxalate up, kill your kidneys, and eat more spinach. A lot of these Candida diets praise vegetables because they are low in sugar and don't feed yeast. Unfortunately, a lot of these people are unintentionally suggesting high oxalate vegetables such as kale, spinach, Swiss chard, beets, and beet greens, which, by the way, have sugar. Don't fall for the vegetable diet like I did. I became severely fatigued and had such bad muscle pain from oxalates that I could barely walk. I was so delusional from the diet, I stayed that way for way too long because of that delusion. Thankfully, I dropped my biased beliefs and realized it was because of excessive oxalate consumption and a shitty internet fad diet. I will share the transcript of this video on my website and on my Patreon. This way, you can see the list of suggestions on there to take notes. Well, that's it for this video. I'll go into more detail later on, most likely in my book. Do you know anyone with Candida? Be sure to send this video to them so they don't go through what I went through. What are your favorite anti-Candida herbs and supplements? Let me know in the comments below. No links, please. Thank you very much. Hit like on this video like your life depends on it, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I upload numerous health videos that you won't want to miss. If you want to support my channel, check out my Patreon. It's only $5 a month and has really cool rewards. As always, I'm Brandon Goji, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay motivated, you urban survivors. I also think most relatively people, if you have to avoid tons of foods to feel better, whereas others don't, then you should, even if you don't have Candida, oxalate rich, spoke too loud.